How to create wealth. Here is the basic path to creating wealth. Step 1. Decide on a product or service to sell. If you are or want to be an influencer or generate revenue through ads, you are technically selling the service of ad exposure to companies. Step 2. Chunk down your goal so you can get some form of revenue-generating product or service to market as quickly as possible with a minimum viable product. Step 3. Advertise or otherwise get exposure. Step 4. Evaluate market feedback and product or service performance. Step 5A. Decide to quit. Step 5B. Attempt to improve or expand the product or service. Step 5C or Step 6. Repeat. Simultaneously, you must, Step 1, constantly reinvest into the business. Step 2, invest the money you do not want to reinvest into the business. Let's take a look at each step in greater detail. Step 1, selecting your pathway to prosperity, offering a product or service. To pave your way to wealth, one essential choice awaits you: determining the product or service you will provide. You might have wondered, how can I convert my passion or skill into a profitable business? The answer lies in the art of identifying your offer. The world of business consists of two primary entities: products and services. Whether tangible or intangible, they fuel the engine of commerce across our global economy. In the most simplified terms, you must decide between these two, offering a product or a service to your potential customers. Perhaps you are a tech enthusiast and dream of creating the next innovative gadget, or you might have a penchant for crafting beautiful jewelry. In these scenarios, your pathway lies in selling a product. On the other hand, if your strength lies in consulting, coaching, or any skill-oriented field such as graphic design, video editing, housekeeping, or managing other people's money, you will be providing a service. However, this broad definition does not capture all possibilities. Some are a little of both, or in a gray area. Take a book, for example. Some people consider a book a product. Some people consider a book a service. In the European Union, a physical book is legally a product, whereas a digital book is legally a service. Well, that's a little odd, isn't it? Most people would consider a physical book a product, but what if you sell a subscription service where you send people physical books? Is this still a product or a service? Of course, in reality, it doesn't matter. The point is you want to be clear about exactly what your business model is. In the modern realm of social media influencing, most influencers are not selling a product or service themselves. Instead, they offer the opportunity for other companies to advertise their products or services to their followers. In essence, they provide these companies access to their audience, which is their most valuable asset. Every time they post an endorsement or partnership, they are delivering their service, exposing their followers to a particular brand or product. Similarly to self-publishing a book, this avenue presents a lucrative way to generate revenue with as little as zero financial investment. Whether you opt to sell a product, provide a service, or take up the mantle as a social media influencer, blogger, or author, your path should align with your passions and skills. Only then can you fully engage with your work and bring your unique value to the marketplace. Identifying your offering is the first crucial step towards constructing wealth. Step 2. Breaking down your dream into achievable steps. Imagine standing at the base of a towering mountain, your eyes set on the majestic peak that seems miles away. You might feel a sense of awe. You might feel a sense of intimidation. It is the same feeling many experience when embarking on a new business adventure. Just as you would not attempt to climb that mountain in a single leap, you cannot create a thriving business in one day. Just as the mountain is scaled one step at a time, and just because you fumble on one step doesn't mean your journey is a failure, so must your entrepreneurial journey be broken down into manageable steps. And just because you falter at one point does not mean you ultimately will fail. To ease your journey, it is essential to create a minimum viable product, bring it to market as quickly as possible, and begin generating revenue. Let us explore this idea further. First, what is a minimum viable product? Simply put, it is the most basic version of your product or service. Or it could be a single part of your product or service, which can be sold in a standalone capacity. The minimum viable product delivers value to the customer and is good enough to sell. It is the embryo of your grand idea, ready to grow, adapt, and thrive based on customer feedback and market demand. Why is a minimum viable product so important? Because it reduces the latency, the time it takes for your idea to start producing income. It allows you to test your idea in the real world without investing too much time, effort, and money into something that might need significant modifications or might not have any market demand at all. This initial product or service is the key to unlocking your journey towards wealth, as it starts your first revenue stream. It may just be a trickle at first, but any revenue is much more motivating than no revenue, and some revenue means there is potential, whereas no revenue is much worse news. Once you have decided on the product or service you want to sell, start by defining what the minimum viable product for this idea looks like. Identify the core value it provides to your customer. What problem may it solve? What need does it fulfill? What does it do better or cheaper? Once you have identified this, keep it in mind while you are creating your product or service. Steps 3 through 6. Navigating the market from launch to expansion. Once your product or service has been released to the marketplace, the next important phase involves advertising and/or garnering exposure in general. The steps you take during this phase can make a substantial difference to your journey towards wealth. At the end of the day, sales is the lifeblood of your business. Failure to advertise effectively or garner eyeballs on your business leaves you all but doomed to fail. People cannot buy from you if they have no idea you exist. If you have chosen a good product or service and executed well, advertising and exposure will create sales. These sales will lead to market feedback. As you gain exposure and sales, pay close attention to the reactions, reviews, and feedback of your customers, potential customers, and, when appropriate, even the feedback from those unlikely to become customers. This may be the only feedback you have if your product is hardly selling at all. Look at the numbers. Are your sales matching your expectations? If not, try to identify the areas where you can improve. Listen to the feedback from your customers. Are they satisfied? Are they facing any particular issues? Did they feel the description of your product or service was misleading in any way? Is there anything they are asking for? Is there something they like about the product or service that you were not adequately emphasizing or advertising? Following the evaluation comes a critical juncture where you must decide to either quit, use the customer and market feedback to make adjustments and improvements, or expand the product or service. For example, let us say you are a solo video game developer and have released the first level of your video game to the public. If virtually no one is downloading it, well, you might as well go ahead and offer it for free. If still no one is downloading it, well, now we need to decide if we want to continue on with this particular video game. Or maybe we need to do a lot more research on advertising and sales. Or maybe you can create a new video game. If people are downloading the video game, but are complaining about, say, controls, that is probably something we should update before we continue with new level development. In contrast, if people are complaining about certain aspects of level design, you have the choice between spending your time improving that first level or just creating a superior brand new level. There is no clear-cut answer here, and you will need to use your best judgment. If things are not going well, and you say choose to quit your immediate business strategy, or even broader industry, remember, this does not signify you, as a business person, will ultimately be doomed to failure. It merely means that this particular product or service was not the right fit for the market for you at this exact moment in time, given your current situation, ability, and resources. Lessons learned from this experience can be invaluable for your next venture or pivot. Every successful business and every wealthy entrepreneur has gone through this cycle many times. It is a process of continuous attempts, successes, failures, pivots, improvements, and adjustments. Your journey towards becoming wealthy is unlikely to be a perfectly straight line with zero failures. So, embrace and understand this cycle, and do not get down on yourself because every single attempt is not a success. Remember, it does not matter how many times you fail. You only have to get rich once. Seize your moment in the universe. Many individuals live lives that can be best described as commonplace. They conform to what society deems as reasonable. Is that the life you desire? Do you aspire to be just like everyone else? I am confident you do not, or else you would not be consuming this content. You seek a life that is not just financially affluent, I'm placing this on you, but exceptional in all dimensions. That's right. I know this is a book about money, but we should never completely isolate it. A person with a lot of money, but no emotional health, no physical health, this is not a person we want to be. We want to be happy and healthy and have loving relationships, but we also want a lot of money. You envision possessing immense wealth, an admirable family and romantic life, robust health, and making a profound, positive impact on this world. The initial step you must take is to recognize and nurture your longing to be more than just ordinary. Take pride in your desire for a life of prosperity for yourself, your family, and your community. I challenge you to think big. It is difficult to strike a balance between massive goals and being realistic. If you are broke today, it is just silly to have a goal of becoming a billionaire tomorrow, at least in any relevant currency. If you are out of shape today, you cannot lose 50 pounds or 25 kilos in a week. Not at least in any type of a healthy way that's not destroying your health and doesn't involve surgery and just sucking the fat out. It is important to strike that balance between a long-term, grand vision that I want you to have that is important to sustain us, but also that short-term, reachable goal. You need a target you can reach today, a target you can reach tomorrow and next month. But you also need that vision and desire of completely and radically improving the quality of your life over a period of several years and lasting for decades. Well, really lasting for the rest of your life. Once we have it, we certainly don't want to lose it, right? You cannot go from unfit to fit in one day, but you likely can in 3 years. Today, your goal is to put that junk food down, to stop eating so many calories, and to get up and exercise a little bit more. The longer the time frame, the more ambitious and inspiring the goals should become. Long-term goals tend to be results-oriented, meaning you want the output of whatever. You want the output of a certain net worth, or you want a certain value or type of house. You want a certain body or type of health, or a certain significant other, or a certain family structure. Shorter time frame goals, on the other hand, should be more pragmatic, achievable, and process-driven. These goals should be primarily input-driven, meaning working a certain number of hours this week, or doing 30 minutes of cardio, or, if you are single, asking 3 people on a date. You more or less have 100% control about achieving these goals because they are completely input-based. It is something you do. You have a lot less control over the result or outcome. So shorter term, we want primarily input-based goals. Longer term, we want those output-based goals. I mean, just having a goal of, in 20 years, I want to have accomplished 40 hours of work per week average, that's just kind of weird. It doesn't even make sense. You say, no, in this many years, I want this much money and I want a jet or whatever it is, right? So longer term, we're thinking about the life we want. But today we're thinking about, I got to put down the junk food or I got to go work a couple more hours. Barriers to leading a life beyond the ordinary. You must fight to be extraordinary. Today, we are surrounded by ordinary and those supporting and encouraging ordinary. This can come from society, our friends, or our family members. Schools are another place where mediocrity is drilled into us. Public school teachers are great for teaching math, science, writing, history, etc., but the average public school teacher in America is earning $66,000, at least in 2022. You should not be taking financial advice from anyone making $66,000 a year. And if you aspire to be a successful entrepreneur, you certainly should not be taking career advice from someone who works for the government, especially someone working for the government making $66,000 a year. A low to moderate wage government employee is about as far away as you can get from a successful entrepreneur. This is not to say there are literally zero public school teachers with nothing useful to say on the subject. As always, there are always exceptions. But demographically speaking, you want to receive financial advice from financially successful people and entrepreneurial advice from entrepreneurs. When you are on a plane and there is an issue with cabin pressure, are you instructed to secure your oxygen mask first? Or to just, ignore yourself and try and help out your baby? Of course, we all know you are advised to take care of yourself first. Why? Because if you are not in a position to survive, how can you possibly help your child or anyone else? Most people are constantly scrambling to fix everyone else's life when their own life is in desperate need of repair and attention. You must not feel guilty when thinking of yourself first. Just as putting your oxygen mask on before helping your child does not mean you do not love your child, focusing on your financial, physical, and emotional health first does not mean you do not care about others. It simply means you are getting yourself into a place of safety and abundance first, where you can now much more effectively help others. Common barriers. Here are some reasons that people from less affluent backgrounds often give for not leading an extraordinary life, and a potential solution to those problems. Excuse. I lack the financial resources. I just don't have any money. Solution. Start a business which doesn't require any financial investment. Excuse. My partner does not support me or my ambitions of starting a business. Solution. Break up with your partner. Excuse. I am single and spend too much time taking care of my day-to-day activities. Solution. Eat microwave meals. Use grocery delivery services. Get a robot vacuum and hire a cleaning service. Excuse. There is no opportunity in my city. Solution. Do I really have to tell you this one? Do I really? Come on. We all know the answer to this one. Move. Excuse. I work too many hours at my day job. Solution. Work less hours on your day job and lower your living expenses if need be. Similarly, you may be able to improve efficiency outside work. Most people waste several hours a day cooking, cleaning, grocery shopping, driving to and from work, commuting a very long time. Hey, how about you move closer to work? If you save 30 minutes each way on your commute, that's 7 hours a week you can then reallocate to your side business. Same as driving to and from the gym instead of living in a building with a gym or having a home gym. If you follow me, you know how highly I value exercise. And I am telling you, driving 20 minutes one way to a gym is an absolute waste of time. You want to have it where you live. Excuse. My boss doesn't like me. He's not going to promote me ever. Solution. Get another job. But, nobody wants to hire you? Listen, if nobody wants to hire you, guess what? It's not your boss. That's the problem. You need to up your value in the marketplace. Excuse. I am dealing with health problems. Solution. This can be a valid excuse. Being unhealthy makes it significantly more difficult to be productive. This is one of the reasons I focus so heavily on maintaining good health and decreasing the probability of accidental injury. Some people, they just lost the genetic lottery. I'm sorry. You just got to do the best you can do. Excuse. My children consume all my time and money. Solution. Reduce expenses where you can and make it a priority to generate more income so your children are not consuming all your money. Remember, there are two sides to wealth: income and expenses. If you have a limited ability to reduce expenses, you must increase income. Consider spending less hours with your children, but increasing the quality of the hours you spend with your children. Most parents think their kids need a lot more time with them than they really do. Most parents also spend a fair amount of time with their children doing things that really aren't that exciting, aren't that fun. Like you're in the living room watching TV and your kid is in the bedroom playing video games. That's not spending high quality time together. Those hours have very little value. Spend a whole day doing boring stuff with your kids. Watch TV with them for 5 hours. Cook, clean, do laundry, go grocery shopping. Observe your kid's emotional state at the end of the day. Next time, only spend a few hours with your children, but make that time as high of quality as you can financially afford. Ask them what they want to do. Water park? Theme park? Snowboarding? Painting classes? Bowling? Tennis? Indoor rock climbing? Dance class? Go-karting? Go to the beach? Go hiking, dress up and go to a fancy tea house, water skiing, lunch and a smoothie. For most kids, most of the time, a high-quality activity your child loves will be valued many times more on a per-minute basis compared to standard, boring daily activities. While some of these excuses or reasons are more valid than others, the reality is you can have excuses or you can have results. Hey, I'm not saying life is fair. It is what it is. I am not trying to sound harsh. I am simply presenting reality, which sometimes can be difficult to accept. Life is not promised to be easy, nor is it guaranteed to be anywhere near fair. The world does not empathize with your problems. Remember, the initial phase is always the most difficult. The journey becomes easier as you progress. The most important thing to do is the very first step. Just get started. Do something. Break your static inertia. Do anything because anything is better than nothing. To conclude, I would like to leave you with some thoughts on what to do when you are not achieving your goals. Do you beat yourself up, which is what most people do short term? Do you quit trying to succeed? That's where most people end up long term. Do you make new goals? Do you look at the bright side and think about what you learned and what you can do better next time? People who are positive and optimistic tend to have much better success than those who are negative and pessimistic. This is a certain kind of optimism. Not that, oh, I believe the universe will provide me with an abundance of wealth. No, that's junk. But rather, okay, hey, you know what? We didn't reach our goal this time, but look at how much further we are along now. Look at how much we have accomplished. Look at how much we have learned. We are definitely going to do better next time. It should also be noted that this optimism is in regard to themselves, not necessarily a failing business or business strategy. Successful business people have to be able to be objective and objectively analyze situations with a combination of the information they have available to them at that time, plus their intuitions. Successful business people kill businesses, projects, and strategies all the time. That is not where their unwavering optimism lies. No, their unwavering optimism and belief lies in themselves. They understand just because one advertising campaign or business fails does not mean that they will be a failure. It simply means they need to pivot. They believe if they keep trying, it is just a matter of time before they succeed. So when things are not going your way, it is vital to stay positive and optimistic that you will, one way or another, find a way to succeed eventually. This can be very difficult at times, I know. But it is hard enough being an entrepreneur and starting a new business, fighting the market, fighting society, your friends, your family. You're fighting the world. You don't need to be fighting yourself at the same time. You should be your own best friend and best supporter. The hours are long, the risks can be significant, and the probability of failure for any individual venture is high. The pragmatic reason for not getting down on yourself is it is very difficult to sustain such a high workload for such an extended period of time if you are constantly mentally punishing yourself and beating yourself up and feeling depressed. Your positivity and optimism may be the deciding factor between you giving up and accomplishing nothing and persevering long enough to achieve great success and live the life of your dreams. I believe in you. Good luck.